What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to dive into a trade between the Flyers and Ottawa Senators that quietly might have major ripple effects for both organizations. A depth move on paper, but a meaningful identity move in reality. We're going to break it all down. And you already know, I want you in the comments. Who won this trade, Flyers or Sens? Or is it one of those rare, perfectly balanced hockey swaps? Let's get into it. The Philadelphia Flyers and Ottawa Senators completed a low-key but meaningful defense-for-defense swap. Dennis Gilbert heads to Ottawa, and the Flyers acquire Maxence Guenette, a restricted free agent who instantly signed a one-year two-way deal with Philly. At first glance, this looks like a minor league shuffle, a couple of depth blue liners switching sweaters. But when you zoom in on the context, usage, injuries, and organizational depth charts, there's a lot more intention behind this move. For the Flyers, this wasn't just about adding a player. It was about reshaping the type of defenseman the organization is stocking up on in Lehigh Valley and giving themselves a possible next man up option with offensive mobility rather than pure physicality. They get a 24-year-old right shot puck mover who just served as an alternate captain in Belleville and has logged over 230 AHL games while leading his team's defense in scoring in multiple seasons. The Flyers value young veterans who can play both sides of the special teams, and Guenette fits that mold. Meanwhile, Ottawa picks up something that they've needed, a no-nonsense, rugged NHL-experienced defender who can stabilize a bottom pair or be a physical presence in Belleville. Dennis Gilbert has 111 NHL games under his belt, a huge number compared to Guenette's 8, and he brings size, bite, and a willingness to defend the crease that Ottawa's depth chart has been lacking. They've wanted harder defensive minutes from their depth guys, and Gilbert provides exactly that. A true stay-at-home presence who blocks shots, finishes checks, and brings the old-school edge the Sens have leaned into. There's more nuance. Gilbert hasn't played since his late October injury with the Phantoms. The Flyers are comfortable on the left side, so Gilbert was sliding into a logjam. While Ottawa has openings, they could give him NHL usage sooner. On the other side, Philadelphia's needed right shot AHL stability all season long. Guenette clears waivers, joins the Phantoms, and fits right into their rotation. He can anchor power play breakouts, help with transitional play, and bring leadership to a young group. So no, this trade wasn't about stealing talent. It was about fit, roles, identity, and two organizations correcting weaknesses by exchanging perfectly opposite players. So while it won't go viral like a blockbuster, don't let that fool you. This is exactly the kind of hockey trade that ends up mattering in February and March when injuries start to pile up. Max Guenette arrives in Philadelphia as a 24-year-old right-shot defenseman who's quietly built one of the more impressive AHL resumes of any seventh-round pick from the 2019 NHL draft class. Let's start with his profile. He's 6'2", roughly 210 pounds, smooth skater, crisp puck distributor, and a player who grew into major responsibility with Belleville. He's not flashy, but he's efficient. And those details matter because Rick Tocchet and the Flyers development staff prioritize decision-making, structure, and reliable breakout touches. And Guenette excels in all three. In Belleville last season, he put up 23 points in 58 games, but the stat that really pops is his team-leading plus 13, which is particularly notable on a Belleville squad that often struggled defensively. The Sens coaching staff leaned on him heavily. He logged tough minutes, contributed both on special teams, and wore the A, a massive sign of how he was viewed internally. This isn't a kid trying to figure out pro hockey. This is a player who has 236 AHL games, a 40-point season, and 2 years of leading his team's defense and scoring. That's premium AHL experience for a Flyers organization that wants to insulate its young defenders rather than throwing them into chaos. Now let's talk about style. Guenette is a breakout specialist. He's patient under pressure, knows how to delay a forechecker with a quick shoulder fake, and uses the middle of the ice more confidently than most depth defensemen. When he's on, he makes life easier for his forwards, attacking with speed instead of digging themselves out of the defensive zone. He's also more comfortable walking the blue line, keeping plays alive and creating shooting lanes with lateral mobility. He's not a cannon shot guy, he's a placement shooter, someone who just gets pucks through. Defensively, he's positionally sound but not overly physical. He relies on angles, stick placement, and anticipation. He's not going to put it forward through the glass, but he's going to close gaps early and force low-danger plays. For the Flyers, this is exactly the type of defender that they need to keep the system functioning. A righty who can move the puck, help drive play for the Phantoms, and serve as injury insurance if the NHL group runs into trouble. Is Guenette an NHL lock? Not yet, but the door is absolutely open, and Philadelphia might be the organization that finally gives him that longer look. And for the Ottawa fans who might not somehow be familiar with Gilbert, being as he's played there before, he's almost the stylistic opposite of Guenette. Gilbert brings size, toughness, NHL experience, and a stay-at-home defense-first identity that the Senators have been craving deeper down their lineup. At 6'2" and over 200 pounds and built like an old-school blue liner, Gilbert has made a career out of being extremely hard to play against. So let's establish some context here. Gilbert has 111 NHL games with 5 organizations and nearly 200 AHL games. He's seen every type of usage: sheltered minutes, penalty kill shifts, fourth line chaos matchups, you name it. And he's always brought the same identity: strong board play, physical edge, shot blocking, and reliability. While Gilbert's offensive upside is limited, Ottawa didn't acquire him to move pucks. They acquired him to clean the house in front of the crease, help on the PK, and bring stability to a team that struggled defensively for years. When Ottawa coaches want someone to clear net front battles, Gilbert's going to become one of their first options. His season was short-lived with Lehigh Valley due to injury, but he still showed the same rugged identity before going down, finishing checks, protecting teammates, giving the Phantoms a harder edge on the back end. Ottawa apparently sees Gilbert as something that Guenette wasn't, a player who can jump into the NHL immediately if needed. Their defensive depth was just too finesse-heavy, and Gilbert tilts that balance. Now, this is a value-based addition, character, toughness, and experience move. It's pretty clear that this was a hockey trade just rooted in organizational need. Both teams found a partner. From the Flyers' perspective, they get a right-shot defenseman for Lehigh Valley, a power play-capable puck mover, a young asset with room to grow, and someone who balances their lefty-heavy AHL defense group. While from Ottawa's perspective, they get a penalty-killing depth defenseman, a physically imposing option, an NHL-ready call-up, and a defender who's got a little bit more snarl. Gilbert checks those boxes. Both teams essentially traded from areas of surplus for areas of weakness. These are the rare exchanges where the value lines up perfectly. So let's talk short-term and long-term outlook. For Max Guenette, in the short term, he's a top 4 defender with the Phantoms. They can use him on the power play. He's a puck-moving D. Long-term, fringe NHL defenseman, maybe with legitimate third-pair potential. If he can add physical reliability and continue elevating his breakouts. Maybe somebody like Igor Zamula, Adam Ginning, now have somebody on their heels a little bit. Whereas Dennis Gilbert, short-term outlook, he's a depth call-up option for Ottawa, likely splitting time between Belleville and emergency NHL duties. Long-term, still a reliable 6th or 7th defenseman who can stick around another 3 to 5 years on the strength of physical play alone. So if you want to know who won this trade, the truth, it's pretty balanced, but with very different ceilings. Obviously, the Flyers acquire a player with a higher upside, while Ottawa acquires the player with a higher floor. If Guenette hits, the Flyers may walk away with a genuine NHL asset. If Gilbert stabilizes Ottawa's depth on defense, they'll feel this deal right away. So there it is, guys. My full breakdown of the Flyers-Senators swap. So let me know in the comments below, who do you think won the deal? And do you think Guenette can crack the Flyers lineup someday? And does Dennis Gilbert bring the grit Ottawa's been missing? As always, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on HW Hockey.
Thanks for watching HW Hockey. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.